everyone. I know that I'm not a normal familiar face on stage, but I've chatted with a bunch of you on the phone many times, so hopefully you can come grab me after if we haven't already connected. In 2005, Leigh and Bill Keith, along with 6 of their 11 siblings, created a business that brought their father's snack bar recipe to retail. Its main point of differentiation? It happened to belong in the fridge. In 2018, Perfect Bar is sold in over 20,000 retailers and is largely considered the pioneer of the refrigerated bar category. But when the company first launched, the concept of a bar that needed to be refrigerated was something that retailers and customers just didn't understand. What's convenient about a bar with a limited shelf life? Where do you stock it? What the Keith family didn't realize at the time was that Perfect Bar was just a few years ahead of what would become the fresh snacking era. You last that long by showing unwavering patience, determination, and flexibility in order to make the best decisions, regardless of fleeting diet crazes and other distractions. Here to talk about how they navigated those changing tides and trends while building out a completely new category are Bill and Leigh Keith, the CEO and president of Perfect Bar. Let's welcome them to the stage.
We're going to talk about how we're going to pioneer a new set from the beginning and how we laid out everything exactly like we planned it.
I don't think that's how
that's just not how it worked.
No.
Okay, so let's tell them the true story.
So we were founded in 2005, a little over 13 years ago. I was 19, Bill was 22. I think
Right out of college.
Bill's business plan lasted about 60 days, probably after all the money was gone. But our story really starts a little bit farther back than that. So our dad, Bud Keith, he was a pioneer in the health and wellness space. Starting his career back in the 1960s, he was vice president for Jack LaLanne's company. He opened Gold's Gym in Venice and did these really cool things in his early career. And by the time we came along in the 80s, he was ready to do it different. He took us in a motorhome, which eventually there's 13 of us.
Like the Partridge Family.
So it grew into a bus, but we lived for years on the road as he lectured from colleges to auditoriums to people's living rooms, one-on-one coaching about health and wellness. I'm truly rooted in the passion that how you eat has a direct impact on how you feel and thus how you live the life that you get to lead. So he would help anyone who would listen, truly. In the early 2000s, he was diagnosed with melanoma skin cancer. And at that time, he had 9 kids still at home, and we came together as a family.
Yep.
And
in 2005, I was in college at the time. I get the call that the disease is getting worse, and we're running out of money. Things are looking pretty tough. So we got together and we said, okay, all of us can go out and get these jobs and support our family, or we can try to be an entrepreneur like our father was. So we looked at all of our options. We said, Dad made these products. I mean, he literally formulated hundreds of products over the years. A lot of them were gross. A lot of them didn't taste good. It was gluten-free. It was
He'd juice the carrots. We'd drink the carrot juice, and then he'd take the pulp, mix it with water, freeze those, and that was our popsicles.
Carrot pulp popsicles, I kid you not. That's abuse. So we got together and we said, those protein bars that he would give to us as kids, and again, we have whole food concentrates in our bars. So a lot of bars are out there, they promote protein fats. We actually take whole food supplements, ground it into a powder, and that's the 20 superfoods that you're getting in every bar. We hated taking our supplements, and in fact, we would spit them out all over the bus. My father would go around and be like, what are these supplements doing everywhere? And so he decided to grind those supplements up, make it into the Perfect Bar. So at the time, we looked at our options. We were losing our house, and so we said, you know what, let's sell this house because we were already a couple months behind in our mortgage, and let's use the equity to buy a flow wrapper machine. And the crazy part about it, what's the best consultant? Well, I wouldn't say the best, but for a lot of young entrepreneurs. He's cheap, he's free, he's readily available. Google, right? Problem is there's a little bit of misinformation out there. But we looked up on Google how to get a flow wrapper machine, how to get the different equipment so that we can find a kitchen, hand roll the bars, because again, when you're starting out, a lot of times you can't meet the minimums of some of these co-packers. So we got off gangbusters. We sold our house, moved to a rental. This was in 2005. Year and a half into it, we went, uh-oh, we're $200,000 in debt. Nobody, again, we were way ahead of our time. We were pitching stores on fresh snacking, on refrigerated bars, and the benefits of having a cold press bar. Well, you know, I'd write these novel emails to these buyers, and I wonder why I wasn't getting a response. You know, I didn't get it. So
Put a lot of thought into those emails.
I know. So here's what happened. In 2006, we ended up getting into a Berkeley Whole Foods. And in this Berkeley Whole Foods, we had a test for 30 days. Literally, the guy said, well, we'll put it on the shelf for 30 straight days, and let's see what the results are. So I slept in my car. I did demos every day in this Berkeley because our kitchen was in Sacramento. Showered at 24-hour fitness, mind you. Don't get any ideas. And we literally, after 30 days, and again, to be in snacks, demos were key, and we blew it up. And then after that, we got 10 more stores, and it started to progress. In 2018, we're one of the best-selling bars in Whole Foods. We're one of the fastest-growing bar companies in the country, and we're in 20,000 retailers. Thank you, guys. Yeah, love this industry.
And to finish, our dad did end up passing away in 2009, but he got to see his family being taken care of. And we really look back on those early years and go, for sure, I don't even feel like we have the grit still in us to have survived those early days. But when your back's against the wall and you have no other option, it's pretty incredible what you can create when there isn't another way out. And so we're thankful now that our family was put in such a tough situation because it charged us with the impossible, and we really made it through those early days.
I always like the folks that say, oh man, I did whatever it took, and I'm like, careful with that statement because you can do a lot, trust me. So in pioneering this new category, we faced a lot of challenges. Namely, one of them was the supply chain. In order to refrigerate throughout the manufacturing process, cold press, into distribution, and on retail, that costs money. So what we did is we tested out to see if people were willing to pay the fresh tax. And the answer was yes. Customers perceive refrigeration and freshness as better for you because it's true. Part of this is we had to establish our selling story. So in the first, and Lee, you remember these days, we literally were placed next to salsa, next to yogurt, produce, wherever we can find a spot in the store. Well, 3 years ago, we took on a minority investment, and again, we were bootstrapped for
10 years.
10 years, we were bootstrapped with just that first $100,000 investment. And 3 years ago, we brought on VMG, and VMG is a private equity company, great company. Again, a great culture fit for us. And with their help, we created this data-driven model. To Bian's point, Bian Snack, she did a great job explaining how to put these data processes and syndicated data in place so that it can drive your decision-making and validate your decision-making. So for us, we take the selling story of, hey, when we are in the grab-and-go set, here's what our sales are compared to these other sets. And so we got consistent placement throughout the stores across the country because of that data selling story.
And yeah, in 2005, it really was ahead of its time, as Megan mentioned. Chobani wasn't around, functional beverages or kombuchas. So being a refrigerated bar ahead of its time, we definitely did the waiting game and opted to grow slow. And in that grassroots movement, really tackle one customer at a time in the natural channel, which was really, an amazing opportunity then. So now as we look at our marketing, especially taking on capital for the first time, we stepped back and we really grew those first 10 years doing demos, right? So now we have some cash. Okay, we can do the News America programs. We can partner with Wanderlust 108 Yoga Series.
All those big traditional marketing
partner
programs.
with Nike and rock and roll. But we really sat and said, hey, let's not get too big and bloated here, because we want to make sure that this is actually turning at shelf. And if it's not, we may feel really good that we gave away 100,000 samples somewhere and Nike logos and we're feeling good. But if it's not making a change at the shelf, then we need to shift gears. And it really wasn't. We know that was building overall brand awareness that would probably affect us in a positive way maybe a couple years from now. But were we seeing more turns with our velocity at the shelf? No. And why? Really, we knew people were taking all of this fun excitement and going to the dry bar aisle and shopping the dry bars and then playing Where's Waldo in the store, couldn't find it. And so because there wasn't, as there is in the last year, this developed fresh snacking set, we had to move our marketing dollars as close to point of purchase as possible. And that's not fun, that's not glamorous. You're not feeling the cool partnerships in Union Square or in New York, whatnot. But it was turning at the shelf, and we had to just educate one person at a time. So demos still remain to be a primary
and
marketing
looking at your marketing programs, to your point, Lee, take a look at what the cost is to move a bar or an item through the register. So calculate, is an event? Okay, how do you quantify that to what it takes to move a bar through a register at a store? That makes that takes out a lot of the noise, right? So if you can beat demos, which we got down to a certain price per bar to move through the register, if you can beat that with a program, we're game for it. If not, let's continue on this, as well as influencers.
And we measure everything against each other. So News America program, right? We know the all-in costs. Let's have a post-mortem evaluation and see how many bars at what price did it take, right? Against Ibotta, the online couponing program. Ibotta is pretty effective for us because it's a pay-to-play. We like that. We leave some money there. But the larger events, we do custom coupons, coupon codes or custom barcodes. So every time those barcodes would ring after a big Nike event, we could tally all of that up through our clearinghouse. So any way that we could be as data-driven and specific as possible to make sure we were facing the sober realities. Were these working or were they not as effective as we thought that they were? So that continues to be testing and learning and evaluating every marketing program that we do. And really back to the demos, it allows us to really educate consumers directly face-to-face. Why is it refrigerated, the benefits, and get the product in their mouths, because that's really the difference, is the taste of our product.
Another thing that we didn't mention, but both in the store and on screen, influencers is another big part of what we do, finding the right influencers. Being Snacks did a great job talking about dietitians, great community leaders that can be vocal influencer, CrossFitters, vegans. Again, I'm not going to talk about the joke of a CrossFitter and a vegan went into a bar. I'm not going to even go there. But again, vocal folks, that's what you're looking for. Okay, so extending learnings across old channels. So we started off just like a lot of young brands in Whole Foods because they gave us a chance. They gave us an opportunity to demo the product. The natural channel is the obvious fit because, again, Sprouts, natural grocers, these retailers are able to give you opportunities, give you set times in stores to set up these displays, and they're very effective. Now, as the company starts to grow up and get into the next level, that's when they shift into conventional. For us, we took a little bit of a jump and we went into Costco. And we did that early on. And we had a lot of folks in the early times saying, hey, is this the right move for us? We looked at their model of roadshows and the amount of samples, literally over 10,000 samples in a weekend at these roadshows. And the biggest concern when I hear about companies going into Costco, that's going to cannibalize my other conventional retailers. Not if you're handing out that many samples, because here's what it's done. And this is for us, but literally, whenever we have road shows in particular areas, the syndicated data for those conventional retailers actually goes up. So they're trying a product, and they don't necessarily want to buy a whole pack, but when they find it at their next retailer, they're going to give it a shot. And so Costco was invaluable for us to really grow create that notoriety across the country so that when we went into conventional, we had a little bit more tailwind behind us. Of course, Trader Joe's, Starbucks, these are accounts with great visibility. When we got into these retailers, we noticed all tides rising. And again, the e-commerce channel, a tough channel when you're looking at a refrigerated bar. How do you cost effectively deliver to the consumer in a way that's appetizing, that looks clean, that limits waste? And we really put an effort towards this because, again, a lot of bar companies will have 20 to 30% of their entire business go through the e-commerce channel. So we knew this had to be a focus. We took this up a couple years ago. Happy to say we're one of the best-selling items on Amazon in their fresh new product section. And this is just through the help of us coming together, creating a plan, and diligently getting it together. And here's some fun ones. Business-to-business wholesale, we have opportunities to work with the Patriots, the Jets. Don't ask me for tickets. You know, I like pretending that, you know, I know these folks, but no, seriously, the trainers try these bars. They love it. It gives you an opportunity to work with some of these professionals, and they're actually purchasing product from us. And it's a great side to a business that not a lot of young brands will use. I mean, a lot of these businesses, again, in the Silicon Valley or, you know, sports teams, these businesses, they have trainers that buy products. They have dietitians that buy products. Take advantage of that. So disrupting the bar category. So again, we spoke earlier how we pioneered this brand new channel called fresh snacking. If you look at the industry right now, if you look at the bar industry, we only account for a little over 1% of that, right? But we're over-indexing 10 times. We're 10% of the entire growth. So this, again, what I'm trying to prove with this graph is that the channel and the category is prime for innovation. It's been stale for a while. There's great brands popping up here and there, but consumers are looking for fresher options. We can see that with the data of perimeter items moving quicker than their inner aisle counterparts, and snacks as well.
So we see ourselves as category leaders in this new fresh snacking set. And with, you know, how do we maintain our leadership? And that's through innovation, thoughtful innovation. You know, when we started out in 2005, we had some legacy food principles, right, that we were raised up with from our dad. We ate carob instead of chocolate. There was never refined sugar. Bill had his first chewing gum when he was 18, I think.
I thought I sinned. I really did.
So we had these legacy food principles from our dad, but maybe those weren't exactly how, you know, ways that we ate throughout our diet. And then as we became a data-driven company, there's data and insights and trends. And so without being pulled too far in either direction, we found ourselves somewhere in the sweet spot. And an example with that is it took us a long time to come out with a dark chocolate product because we were like, Dad's going to roll over in his grave.
Dad would roll over chocolate instead of carob. No.
But we ate dark chocolate. So we went after a fair trade, clean chocolate, and we thought maybe our consumers would abandon us or be angry with us for having a refined sugar in this dark chocolate, right? Well, it's now one of our fastest moving SKUs. So once again, it needs to be somewhere in that sweet spot and really go with our gut intuition. Obviously, a big trend right now that we hope is here to stay is plant-based. Of course, we didn't grow up on a plant-based diet necessarily, nor is our brand looking to move completely to a plant-based company. But we really appreciate what that offers, and obviously the sustainability towards our planet as well. So we offer up now multiple plant-based options for our consumers. So that's an area where some could say we're following a trend, but we feel it sits somewhere in the middle. A trend that we certainly hit head on was the low-fat trend. So we launched in 2005 in the heart of the Atkins era when low-fat was everything, and we're a fatty nut butter bar that's going to keep you full, but there's healthy fats. Not all fats created equal, and now we know that. But that was a trend that we certainly just addressed with education, as is sugar now.
And again, It's maintaining and staying true to your principles, but it's also reaching out and meeting the consumer. What is your diet? For me, I'm all about moderation and better for you diet, right? Am I trying to maintain this like unrealistic diet? No, but we all want to eat better. And it's about looking at the consumer that's eating your bar and saying, okay, I'm going to reach out to you and make a product for you that I truly believe in, that has all these principles, that is organic, that is non-GMO, that is high protein, that again has those clean ingredients. Because I think the trend that is here to stay, and you guys can back me up on this, is the clean food revolution. People want clean, and that's where we're moving to. So the future is fresh.
Future is fresh. We've touched on this already. I don't know if this 4 minutes includes our Q&A, but but we really see we're hitting across multiple touch points where people obviously are snacking more than ever. 50% of adults snack twice a day. Clean label, obviously, we've touched on that. You see, all of the growth, really, a majority of the growth is coming from clean label products, which is exciting. Taste is number one, of course, and we feel like we really are champions there. And then fresh. So now, as Bill mentioned, the perimeter aisles, the refrigerated aisles, are growing 2.7 times faster than the inner dry aisles in their complementing products. Mm-hmm. So what's next for Perfect Bar? We really see building out multiple platforms, meeting multiple needs throughout the day, and really becoming more of a snacking or developing a snacking umbrella brand. Today, Perfect Bar, but the future is Perfect Snacks, which we're excited about, and we'll be debuting a new platform at Expo East and then again at Expo West.
2 new platforms coming up. Because again, retailers, listen to this opportunity. If you do pioneer a new category, if you're willing to take that risk, the opportunity, now you have retailers coming to you, thank God, and they're saying, hey, what other items do you have so we can create a destination spot in the store for fresh snacking? That's awesome. The future is fresh, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We can sit down and have a few more questions for you.
Cool.
Great.
So, Perfect Snacks, big announcement, big deal. I mean, as a brand, it can be hard to figure out where you're willing to compromise and where you aren't. And as you platform the brand moving forward, what are some of your guardrails for developing new products within this platform?
So whatever items we develop has to be project non-GMO, right? Especially with all the foods with the different soy in there and the emulsifiers. Our product is cold press, does not have the soy lecithin, which is a binding agent. So we have to be non-GMO. We also are a protein brand. So all of our snacking options have that high or good source of protein in it. We are targeting gluten-free as well, and it has to be in the refrigerator. So again, we've had different opportunities to make a dry bar or different items outside of the fridge. We love the fridge, and that's where we're going to stay.
Now, you talked about your dad's story and how he was really the inspiration behind this whole brand. How much of your dad's wishes influenced your choices along the way?
That's a great one. Do you want to?
Dad, yeah, we were raised very unconventionally, with he told us we could learn everything we needed to know from nature. And we saw almost all 50 states by the time we were teenagers. So that unconventional upbringing, we craved a house on the end of a cul-de-sac and just staying in one place. But now I so appreciate the creative, out-of-the-box kind of exploration that was our childhood.
So we were kids that rebelled and wanted certainty. I know. Anyway.
So you guys also are with your siblings as well throughout this whole time. And in 2015, you took investment from VMG. How did that change the dynamics of the office for you and just how you wanted to run the business moving forward when you were so tight-knit?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't come without its sacrifice.
Absolutely.
For sure.
We basically had to sit down with our family and say, okay, I, being the CEO, if I'm not what we need in order to get to where we're trying to go, then we're going to find a CEO to do it. And by setting that standard, everybody had to follow, and either we all caught up and figured out what we were doing and how to intermingle, because again, we brought in a very dynamic team, folks from General Mills, folks from 5 Hour, these great VPs that taught us how to grow up. And unless we figured out how to catch up in order to work with these folks, then we were going to get replaced. And the overall idea with our family is that the brand would win, and we're not going to get in its way.
Yeah, but on top of that, though, we learned a lot about what we could maintain with our culture. We, of course, were a family culture because there were only brothers and sisters working there, so that was easy. But could it still be fun? Could it still be lighthearted and hugs? Bill does side hugs around the office.
I'm too big to do a frontal.
But we do side hugs. But could it still be that sweet and wonderful and heartwarming and loving, and can everybody lead with kindness and no egos? I don't have an ego with my brother or the position I'm in. We're a very flat organization because I wasn't here to manage my siblings. That wouldn't be a dynamic that would work in our family, and it's still that way. And we had to find VPs and directors and leaders within our organization that led that same way, where ego's left at the door. We're here for our greater mission, and we can celebrate our birthdays and be silly. And our VP of operations, big beard from General Mills, he's an intimidating looking guy. He's so awesome, and he's there to support my sister, who is our director of operations. But we've really been able to see that we could maintain that family culture, although we've set structures to grow to a $100 million brand.
Awesome. Guys, we're out of time. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. And
Thank you, guys.
anyone else has questions,
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
feel free to go grab them after. Maybe Bill will give you a side hug.
Thank you.
Thank you.